Welcome. It's really lovely to see everybody here tonight, or at least see your names. Thank you for joining us. My name is Nikki Lefebvre, and I am the director of the Natick Historical Society. We were established in 1870, and today we remain an independent nonprofit that receives no public funds. We thrive on the support of our community members, and so tonight I want to extend my thanks to all of our supporters whose generosity helps make programs like these possible. So a warm but silent Zoom round of applause to all of you. Thank you so much. We are thrilled to have Athena Pandolf with us this evening to talk about the Natick Center Cultural District. And this program is part of our Meet Our Neighbors series, which shines a light on local organizations that have shaped Natick in the past, in the present, and will continue to shape Natick on into the future. It is the last event in our spring Meet Our Neighbors series, but we'll be back with more Meet Our Neighbors programming in the fall. So keep an eye out for some announcements from us about whom we'll be shining a light on next. Before I formally introduce Athena, I do want to highlight one of our upcoming events, and that's on Sunday, June 27th, when we will be inviting local teams, especially those who are passionate about human rights, anti-racism, and the Black Lives Matter movement, to join us for our second community read of Frederick Douglass's 1852 speech, "What to the Slave is the 4th of July." And that program is inspired by the Mass Humanities program, which asks communities to engage in community reads of Douglass's speech all across the Commonwealth. So if you know a teen, please help us spread the word and follow us on our website to find out more information about that event and others. And our website is www.natickhistoricalsociety.org. So with that, I'm so happy, Athena, that you're with us tonight. And Athena Pandolf has been the executive director of the Natick Center Cultural District for more than 5 years, leading the nonprofit in supporting the local business and creative economy in Natick Center. The district provides support for the business and artistic community through events, projects, opportunities for engagement, and public art within the community. Athena has been a resident herself here in Natick for over 20 years. So let's all please give Athena another warm but silent Zoom round of applause. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Athena, and I'll turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you, Nikki, and thank you to the Natick Historical Society for having me tonight. It's a real honor. I appreciate you having me on and being able to talk about the Natick Center Cultural District. And just thank you to all who attended. I know we have some board members here, and I appreciate those who probably already know what we do tuning in to hear about just the depth and the breadth of what we do. It's pretty exciting. I really love what I do. This is a fabulous community, and we have some wonderful partnerships, such as with yourself and others. And really, that is the reason we do what we do. In all honesty, we do not do it alone. It's really our partnerships that make it come alive, and we've accomplished that. So we are very, very grateful for this community support that we receive. And I'll just kind of go through a little bit on the history of the cultural district, where we've been, where we're going, what happened during the pandemic even, and how we weathered that storm. So I will just share my screen. I have quite a few slides, but I'll go through them. A lot of them are just visual, just because I'm a visual person and I do like to show a lot of images. So I love this one because this is something, Welcome to Fabulous Natick, that someone had created in the downtown and used to put it up for the marathon. So this is just a great slide. I think it really tells the story of what Natick is to all of us that know and love it. We think it is a fabulous place, and we're just so grateful to be a part of it. So the Natick Center Cultural District, we do a lot in the downtown and for Natick in general. So it is fostered by a private-public partnership and managed by Natick Center Associates. We are a nonprofit organization comprised of property owners, retail, office workers, neighbors, town officials. And, we have a history of working with the town since 1996, when Natick Center Associates became a formal nonprofit. And before that, it was It was an entity that really brought the merchants and the business community together. And they created the farmers market, which has been around for over 20 years. And for most of that time led by Deb Sayre. And so that's really been wonderful to have. And so then also when the town became a cultural district in 2012, we received the designation from the Mass Cultural Council. Natick Center Associates was really the nonprofit that just made sense to take it over and run it for the town. And so since that time, we initiated a strategic plan after that. We got funding through the town of Natick. So we are funded partially. That's usually a question that comes up. We are funded partially through the town. We have memberships. And we also have, support from local business community. And so we really are grateful for that. And a lot of the businesses in the downtown, I'm actually going to go back a bit here. It's going a little bit too fast. But so we work in close partnership with the town because of that support. And we do work with the town very well. And they are incredibly gracious to us in many ways, from the select board to the DPW. And again, we do work with them quite a bit. So some of the things that we do, we are not just an arts and culture focused nonprofit. We do focus a lot on the businesses in the downtown, especially the events. And we also work as kind of a liaison between the merchants and the town of Natick. So some of the events you might have heard about: Natick Nights, Art Walk, which was there long before I came along, Multicultural Day, Porch Fest, Holy Festival, the weekly farmers market. We've done public art projects such as starting with the electrical boxes, the creative placemaking art, the art that's taking place right now, the traffic calming art that you might have driven through and seen. That's pretty fun and new for us. That's definitely been an adventure. So far, so good, though. And it's exciting to see it come along. And we also, again, help the businesses. We have a website, natickcenter.org. We help them focus on, any kind of specials that they might have through social media, the boulevard banners downtown, the welcome center. So a lot of just different ways that we really try to bring people to Natick Center, have them shop and see how great it is. And again, the merchant support, we offer the members, meetings, sometimes monthly. Actually, during the pandemic, it was weekly, promotion on our website, grant opportunities. And especially during the pandemic, there were a lot of things that we were able to offer them, opportunities that we hope was helpful for them and kept them afloat during the pandemic. And so we do partner with a lot of the groups in town. These are just a few. Obviously, the artist community in Natick Center is just unbelievable. And, just so many of them have done public art projects, started their own projects. Natick Artists Open Studios is tremendous, a tremendous event. Park and Rec for Natick Days. So we don't run that ourselves, but we partner with them. Same with Spectacular. And when Earth Day was happening, a couple of years ago, hopefully it'll be back next year. And then Public Works is just tremendous, helping with the downtown lights, the outdoor lighting, and also the setup for the new outdoor dining, community and economic development department. Just some great partnerships there. And of course, the cultural anchors that we have in town, which is the reason why we probably got the cultural district designation with fabulous, TCAN, Walnut Hill School, Morse Institute Library, the Natick Historical Society. I mean, all these things, we work with them as far as including them in our events like Natick Nights, which is a great opportunity to do that. We also work with community partners, Spark Kindness, Common Street Spiritual Center. We also had a Art in Bloom this year with a garden club. So we helped to facilitate the downtown planters that the garden club graciously gives their time in planting every year, which is just beautiful. And so in 2019, it was exciting that we were nominated for the Mass Cultural Council Commonwealth Award. We did not receive it, but it was quite an honor to be able to say that we were nominated. And we're very happy for that designation and that nomination, and just to be recognized for the work that we've done. So just some of the events that you might know about that we've done, of course, is Natick Nights. Natick Nights started in 2016. It actually went from May until September, I believe. And then the next year, that was a little much for me, so we scaled it back, which was perfect, to June and July, and that will actually start up on June 3rd. We will start Natick Nights again. And during the pandemic, we did actually have a few Natick Nights, socially distant Natick Nights, and people were really receptive to it. You know, as we all know, it was tough, and just to help the merchants and to, you know, allow the community something to be out there for and to interact with one another was extremely just helpful and lifted people's spirits. And we had the different nights. These pictures are from like 2018, 2019 for Kids Night. And then for Craft Brew Night. And just the reason Natick Night started was to really give the opportunity for the local business community and nonprofit community to come together to, you know, highlight their business and really allow that interaction between the community and the business owners. So BlingQuest is a wonderful, you know, example of this, because we would have a scavenger hunt, and for each, you know, part of the scavenger hunt, you would have to go to a different merchant in order to take the test, or a group, 20 different ones. So it allowed that kind of, you know, whether you weren't, you know, getting jewelry that day, but it created this relationship, or we hoped it would, between the community and the merchants or the local nonprofits that would take part in that. And it really became quite popular with Historical Night, and the Masonic Trust was very gracious and opened up the hall to be a part of that. I know the Natick Historical Society was very helpful. And so these different nights, just really being able to bring the community together, and maybe different parts that people didn't even know existed at that time, as far as locations or groups, or just providing wonderful opportunities for those, you know, comfortable collisions for people to take part in. An art walk is just a wonderful event, and to support the artist community, to have them, you know, be able to participate, and, you know, just really make the people aware of the incredible artistic talent that is right amongst us. And I think people are pretty aware of that now that they see all the public art, but it is mind blowing, and people do envy it. You know, and then just to feature the fact that, you know, when we had the fire in Natick Center at 1 South Main, you know, we were really there to help support the merchants and create a fund to give them, you know, support, financial support. And we worked again with the town to just bring in help from the state, and whether that was, you know, support financially, or how to get their business back online through local rapid recovery programs. And so that was just something too that, you know, we really kind of bridged that between the merchants and the town, or at least we tried to. And this was a great sign that Spark Kindness had done during that time, where the community signed it, just showing their love for the businesses that had been lost. And that was just a very kind of a sad time, but, you know, we're so grateful for all the first responders that were part of that. And then some of the other events that we've had for fundraisers, we had Natick's Got Hidden Talent. Some of the merchants and people in town we brought before the community to highlight their talent that people didn't know about. And that was, I just think, a gem. And we were just really grateful. Who knew we had a barbershop chorus in Natick Center, or the owner of Metro Pets was an opera singer. It was pretty neat to have their willingness to be a part of it. And then the next year, the Evening of Culture, we really brought out, you know, we tried to bring together some of the different cultural aspects of the community for this fundraiser. And just wonderful, again, community members that just really came forward and wanted to show their talents and their culture to help support us was really incredible. Then, of course, a lot of you know, and Fran is here, and Denise too, maybe the Tunnel of Love. And this is something that we didn't start. This was definitely not something that the NCC did, but it was something that we fully supported. And it just continues to become one of those turning point events that people will always remember, that had weddings under, that people had pictures of, that Walnut Hill students had pictures of when they graduated that year. I mean, these kind of public art projects are integral and now are such a part of the Natick community that weren't there before, especially not that I knew of when I first moved here. And I think really to be a part of that is pretty incredible. And just again, the artistry that we have, Carol Krentzman has done these mosaics on Court Street, from the smiling faces to We the People, and then one that's coming up soon, probably this year, I think the end of this year, if not the beginning of next year, is the History of Natick, which is a new mural that's coming. And I believe that's her last. And so just the richness of our artistic community is something that we really are fortunate to have, but it's also something we try to promote and to also bring in, just the aspect of diversity and inclusion and equality for everyone as well. I mean, these are all tied into what we do. Again, it started with probably the mural at the train station, but then went into the Public Art Committee does a great job. We did a lot of these different electrical boxes. And Mary Erickson and Eddie Bruckner did these. They become really helpful. Rebecca Tuck and Christina Taylor did these boxes. And so they're around town. And then, we started Multicultural Day in, I believe this was 2016, 2017, and just bringing together, offering community members the opportunity this is Helen from Baja, Mexican restaurant in Natick, and just coming to share, her culture. And she brought her wonderful food and her family, and just creating these wonderful opportunities for the community to learn about one another, to learn about different cultures, is really something that we feel like, or I feel especially, and I know the board and others do feel like is really the way Natick has grown into such a tremendous supportive community in many, many ways. And to be able to amplify this cultural aspect is something that's incredibly important to me. And the fact that I have the opportunity to do this on a daily basis is really just wonderful. And the first Holy Festival and that we had, it was just a lot of fun. And it's also an educational opportunity for people to learn about other cultures and ones that they might not be familiar with. And we had a great turnout for that. And then switching over to just different things. I mean, in having our first Porch Fest in 2019, we had one last year. It was, Porch Fest at home. It wasn't quite the same, but the musicians really appreciated having the opportunity to share their music with the community. And also the neighbors in that area. We had it in a small area in the downtown, kind of behind where the bagel table is now, in the Pond Street area. The neighbors were very, very gracious in offering up their porches and garages to these great bands. So that was a lot of fun for people to walk around. So we hope, I don't know exactly what this year holds yet, but it would be nice to hold it again. It was truly a great event, and everyone seems to have a good time. And then again with the Community and Economic Development Department, we worked and this is TCAN. So TCAN's a great partner. We were able to have Mass Innovation Nights here, which really featured a lot of the just up and coming small businesses and entrepreneurs. And that was something that had never been in Natick before. And people really, were able to connect with new businesses, make new connections. It was a great networking opportunity. And so I hope at some point we can hold this again. It brought people to Natick that hadn't been to Natick before, didn't know what Natick had. And it was a wonderful opportunity for us to share that with others. And the weekly farmers market, it's great. It's outside right now, the year-round market on the common during the summer, inside the spiritual center in the winter. And just thanks to Deb Sayre, who's done a great job through the pandemic. It just kept going. And thanks to the Board of Health for allowing us to have that, even in a limited fashion during the pandemic. A lot of people really enjoyed being able to get that, their fresh fruits and vegetables, and support the local farms through, the pandemic. So some other things that we've done, not only just events, but through the MAPC, we received grant funding in 2018 to focus on a creative placemaking plan, strategic plan. And this was something that was new to me. I can't say I knew a lot about it at the time, but now we've kind of been living it. And just a definition is it's a planning and community development process that occurs when planners, community development practitioners, artists deliberately integrate art and culture into community revitalization work, placing arts at the table with land use, transportation, economic development, education, housing, infrastructure, and public safety strategies. And so that's really what we've done. You know, we had a first call to artists that year. We did a temporary call. It was just a very quick, like 2-week, you know, artist focus. Was November 3rd, 2 week. Yeah, they were up for 2 weeks in November. And this was a great way to just, you know, share this with the community, kind of the start of the placemaking. And we learned a lot of lessons. It wasn't all, you know, easy. These banners were beautiful, but they got all wrapped up and we had to fix them. And so it was a great learning process, which I really feel that these things are. But, you know, Beth did these and it was wonderful to at least be able to try new things. And that's one thing that, you know, the select board has been extremely gracious, and board members and public art committee, you know, we just keep trying new things, and you know, most of them are pretty successful. I think we're pretty lucky in that respect. These are some benches done by Mark Favorman, which are still there. This was part of that creative placemaking process. And so really just gathering the community at this time and our community stakeholders and asking them kind of, well, how do you see Natick, you know, in the future? What do you feel, you know, could work in the area of creative placemaking? How do we engage with the community? How do we, you know, what does that look like? And so these artists really focused on how to do that. And so Eddie Bruckner's Hopscotch, you know, this was a really interactive piece. A lot of them were interactive. This is by Rebecca Tuck. This is the Clutie Tree. And so people would write messages of hope or wishes from, they would actually get the colored strips of fabric from different places. So the fabric colors actually coincide with the locations as to where they picked up, whether it was Five Crows, Spiritual Center, Library, and then they wrote their wishes on that. And that was something that was just, you know, really enjoyable for people and just different and kind of going outside of the box and thinking, well, what is art and how can we interact with it differently? And this was done by Sasha Kutsnova. She had, out of recycled materials, had made these instruments for people to interact with on the pedestrian bridge. And so, again, it was really, we were in partnership with the MAPC and the American Planning Association and also Americas for the Arts. It came out and was really a part of this. It's like a year-long study. We actually do have a creative strategic plan based on all these, you know, events that we did, you know, meetings with community stakeholders. And so that was, really kind of for us, it was a first for me and something that came out of this in the next year when we had the call to artists. Jason Cheeseman Meyer's Fishwalker, which is on Adams Street, is there. Actually, Ginger's Unconventional Garden was chosen at the same time, even though done in 2020. That was part of it on Adams Street. So Adams Street is kind of becoming, we like to call it kind of our art alley. And that's really, here's Ginger with the Unconventional Garden and Carol's piece in 2020, the We the People mosaic. And so again, you know, we're just so fortunate to have these wonderful artists in town to help us do that. So, you know, a lot of this happened and then the pandemic came and it really, as we know, just put the brakes on everything. And so, you know, what was our focus then? We couldn't really have events. We could still do art. And one of the first things that came out of it was the Love01760 project. And that was started by a merchant came up with the idea. We met with artists like Denise and Ginger and Spark Highness and Elizabeth from the Garden Club. And we really came together to create this public art project that involved the entire community. This was something that we wanted people to be able to do while we were stuck at home. And, it was something easy for the kids to do. You just print out the heart, color it. People found that they had artistic talent they probably didn't think they had. Your heart was then cut in half and put together with someone else's. So this coming together of the community really was made tangible and real through this wonderful project. And Denise Girardin and Joe LaFalce and Ginger McEachern and so many others just were really, really instrumental at making that project happen. And so, again, we then not only just the Love Project, we had virtual art week, and our focus on the small business community really had to ramp up. And we had, calls with them every week just to keep these businesses afloat. And what could we do? How could we help? And so, we're very, very grateful that, although some still struggling, but now with the nicer weather, people are able to dine outside again. The restrictions are being lifted, but we did have 2 shops close. And that was hard, yoga studio, on Main Street, and then also Natick Cycle. And that was a hard time for many. And it was a scary time. And I think the businesses still do struggle, I think, with just, the changing of everything. They've done a tremendous job on pivoting and, reaching out through social media and, acquiring new customers. And it's really been encouraging to see that. And we did have 5 new businesses open in 2019, which was not something that I would have expected. But wonderful to see. So one of the first events we had this year in partnership with the Garden Club was Art and Bloom. So this was just feeling like we're coming out of the pandemic. There's color. It was a time where it just felt like things are being renewed and restored, and having art be at the focus of it was, just something that I think we were all kind of thrilled at. So this was a great partnership with the Natick Garden Club. I think it was wonderful to have the focus be on public art, and having those 2 work together is really just something that we're very happy to have done, and hope that we can do that again in the future. So some of you may be driving through the downtown. This is a very recent picture. Polly was just out there this morning painting. She's finishing up her traffic calming art. And we have 4 other pieces that are going to be going into the center. And this is something that it is part of our, For the Love of Natick creative placemaking initiative, as I talked about before, and really does involve the public safety aspect, leveraging arts, culture, and creativity while driving the broader agenda of change, growth, and transformation that builds character and equality of place. And, this is something that is really instituted to help people who are crossing the street. These bump outs is what they're called, is to help create more of a buffer between the traffic and the pedestrians, and gives them more area, less of an area to cross the street, but it creates it in a way which is fun and just very colorful. So we actually worked with 2 separate groups, including our public art committee, to choose the artists for this project. And here's just a little diagram. I know it's hard to see, but these are the ones that are up and coming. So this is just a taste of what's coming. So Polly's actually where you see the C down here has moved over. We did, this is a work in progress. So it was definitely a learning curve for us in a lot of different ways. But here we've got Jason Cheeseman Meyer has some artwork here. Kevin Baldwin is here. Denise Girardin is here with the Love Project. His actually moved a little bit. And then Swati Dave is here as well. So you'll see those over the next few weeks come about and be painted in the center. And we hope that people really do enjoy it. and that it does help create a safer, center, a safer way to cross. And we are thankful to the Solomon Foundation and also to Mutual One, who was a huge sponsor of this project as well. And so those are just some of the things that we've done. And I probably could go on and on, but I think, that's really just a little bit about the ways that, Natick Center Associates has transformed, and the cultural district just keeps growing over the years. And, again, we're very, very grateful for the partnerships, for the traffic calming art, DPW, unbelievable. I mean, they put up with, just different questions and the painting of it. And so, yeah, we're just, we're really looking towards the future. We're, redoing our strategic plan, which came to an end. So we're updating that and talking to community stakeholders about, where we're going in the next 2-3 years. What does the community want to see from us? How can we grow? How can we better serve the community? So, we're really just appreciative for all the support that we receive. And I know that the business community is too. So, I'm happy to, if there are any questions, answer any questions. And yeah, thanks all for listening.
Thank you, Athena. Thank you so much for the lively presentation and all of the images. And I think if one thing comes through, it's your energy and passion for Natick, which is just, we're so grateful for it.